We're live, we're live. Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever the hell you are in the world, and welcome to Scitrek, your sci-fi TV and movie channel. We're with young Harris.
Howdy.
Young Harris.
Middle-aged?
Yes.
Aaron?
Yeah.
And
remember, I got a year on you.
Old, ancient, rusty, furry.
Yeah. While you were on break, I was the oldest one on screen because I think we figured out that I'm still about a year or so older than Jay.
Jeez, you actually look much, much older than that. So
That's why he said middle age, just to make sure, you know.
Baby face, Jay.
Baby face.
I've got more hair than when I was
this
born,
shit off.
so-
I give you a run on baby face too.
Yeah, I can't grow a beard, so I'm not even going to start that one. I'm very jealous.
When you come for Comic-Con, I'll shave and give you some. Don't worry.
Oh, going to give me some? Give me some what? That sounds awesome. Let's do that.
Is this how we're starting again? I didn't even open my mouth. Oh my God.
Oh,
I get all the
did
shit
someone have
for
a prank
this.
before they came
And
on,
you
or
guys
what?
are running around.
Right, so
Someone
we
have
are
the
going to be
dessert
talking about
stout?
Ahsoka. His mouth's moving, but I can't hear anything you say now. I can't hear you, bud. So
What'd you say?
Aaron's mouth was moving, but I couldn't hear what he was saying. But anyway, let's move on. So we are both talking Ahsoka. We are talking toxic fan base. We are talking, and that's going to be sci-fi across the board, but particularly with a lot of the stuff around Ahsoka. So first of all, we're just going to go around. I've even seen Ahsoka. Even I've seen it. And even I quite enjoyed it. So, just
Don't
generally
tell anybody.
speaking, what did we think? We'll go Stormy and we'll go that way around. So, Stormy, what do you think of it?
Are we talking about the series in general or just the last episode?
No, the series in general.
I love the shit out of it. I mean, you know, it was the worst thing about it was I watched the last episode and I thought, God, that was a great episode. And then I read in the comments somewhere that Ray Stevenson had passed, that he had died back in May. And then I was crestfallen because I
That's
felt
how you found out?
yes.
I'm sorry.
Comments off of I guess it was Facebook or TikTok. I had no idea. You know, because I don't read a lot of these fan websites because a lot of times there's spoilers and I want to enjoy the film as it is.
Mm-hmm.
And that's come to bite me in the ass once really bad. I went to go see this. It was at the Kabuki Theater in San Francisco. The San Francisco Cinema Society was showing a film called Bottle Shock. And there was this one actor there, the lead actor that I got to talk to, and was talking about the film and his acting style and how he got prepared for it. Well, that guy was Chris Pine, and I had no idea he had just wrapped filming on Star Trek. No clue. We just talked about wine and the movie Bottle Shock because that's what I get for not following this stuff. So I thought that Ray Stevens has died in the comments from something on Facebook, I think, and I really fell in love with him during Rome. Bro, he was awesome. If you haven't seen Rome, it was an HBO series. God, he was great. He was awesome. But anyway, I loved Ahsoka. the introduction of Thrawn when the rundown Imperial Star Destroyer.
Was that the Smurf dude? Like the giant Smurf, right?
Tall Smurf dude. Yeah.
Yes,
I just thought that was the best evil villain opening ever. I loved Ahsoka, and it really hurts my heart. And I go on Twitter and just see people bitch about, oh, it's so woke. How can anyone stand?
Don't get ahead of yourself. We're coming to that.
Okay, fine. I liked it. End of the sentence.
Coming back to it.
All worked up now.
I'd love to know, less like what in the bits particular did you? I mean, because for me, all the lightsaber battles were the highlights. That I don't normally say that because I find them a little bit drawn out, a little bit boring. But I thought in Ahsoka, fantastic. Particularly the chick playing Ahsoka, I thought she was fantastic. She moves like a dancer. I just thought it was stunning. Aaron, what did you think?
Numbers wise, overall, I give the entire series an 8.5. I would say half of it was fire and the other half was good, but not great. Like pretty much 4 episodes of each.
It was better than Mandalorian for that, though, because the last series of Mandalorian has some really stinkers.
better than season 3 of Mando for sure.
Hmm.
Like it, I'm still having trouble deciding between it and Mando season 2, but I'm leaning Ahsoka for the best Disney Plus Star Wars show currently.
That is high praise. High praise. Harris,
Yeah.
what did you think, then, mate?
From
Best Disney show so far? Best live action show so far?
Well, that's what I was waiting for. That's what I was like. This Dave Filoni, God Emperor Dave Filoni, is gonna bring it to us. I grew up on Clone Wars. I grew up on Rebels. As like my adulthood started, kind of, we got the finished Clone Wars, which was kind of beautiful and kind of like, oh, well, my childhood's complete now. Thanks, Dave. You know, this was underwhelming as a season, as an opening. I understand Dave Filoni. I love the way he slow burns storytelling, and he puts a lot of puzzle pieces to unravel later on in his stories in that first season, which can make those first seasons feel typically more childlike because he indulges like a younger protagonist typically. That did not happen here, and I don't think there were many puzzle pieces to unlock either. As much as like I will, there's a reason I'm calling him God Emperor Dave Filoni. He's the creative director over at Lucasfilm. I love the guy's work. Avatar: The Last Airbender, Clone Wars, Rebels, etc., etc., etc. This was it just wasn't what it should have been. It just wasn't. I don't dislike it. I know I'm sounding like I'm disliking it, but my expectations were so high that they just weren't met, and that's from the little kid with bright eyes just going into it with an open mind and just excited for everything, who literally finished Rebels by episode 3 of Ahsoka for my rewatch. Like, every puzzle piece was there for me, and it just didn't do it the way I wanted it to at the end of the day.
I'm going to say there are some bits in this series. Overall, I'm going to say I like this series. Overall, I thought it was great. I preferred Andor, and I preferred the couple of series of Mandalorian. I even probably preferred Boba Fett. This isn't massively high up. I love the chick they got playing Ahsoka. I thought she was amazing. And she really, everything that raised up because of that. But space whales are stupid. The first 2 episodes are incredibly forgettable. It was better when it went over to the other galaxy. And if you haven't seen the animated movies, the animated series, you need to do a lot of reading and research to understand what the bloody hell is going on. So those are quite serious downsides for me. I've never watched Clone Wars. I've never watched these things. I'm not as big a Star Wars fan as you guys. So overall, yeah, I liked it. Hyperspace whales are dumb, and I'm sorry, it was dumb. There's bits. There's been a few bits like that in Star Trek recently, and it's just dumb.
The way they executed them were dumb. If you were to watch Rebels, I know it's a lot to go back and do all the homework just to watch the one season of television. Then it makes perfect sense. I know that's not an excuse. That's really not an excuse. But like a lot of the things I think that I hold issue with, it's pacing and execution for this season as a whole. And Star Wars generally. We talked a lot about that on Chilling in the Basement yesterday evening. It's just that their pacing screwed up right now, and it is messing with their ability to execute, I think. And if the Purrgil were given just a little bit more depth, they would have made a lot more sense, because they're a really intriguing kind of thing.
I think they got the pacing much, much better, and the overall story and stuff made more sense than Mandalorian season 3. Mandalorian season 3 was bad. It was not good.
I'd say yes until episode 7 and 8.
Sorry?
I agree with you up until episode 7 and 8. They lost the pacing in Ahsoka the last 2 episodes, and I think it's really hurting the series as a whole and the way people are going to look back at it.
Well, why was it 8 episodes over 10? I thought wasn't it originally announced to be 10 episodes, or was it always going to be 8?
I think it was always 8, but I'm not 100 on that.
It's always going to be 8.
Isn't that Star Wars?
The first season was
they do 8 quite a lot, don't they?
Well, most of the time.
Yeah, the only really long one is Andor.
Andor.
That was 12.
Was that 12?
Mm-hmm.
See, now I found Andor
12,
incredibly boring in places, but I find all Star Wars incredibly boring in places. I even watched the original trilogy, and I'm going to duck because shit's going to get thrown at me.
Yep.
I find the original trilogy boring in places. Are we okay? Okay. I mean, God, it's boring. But I appreciate the class, and Andor I loved as overall. Overall, I thought it was great, but in places I could have just took a nap and I wouldn't have missed anything.
So, what do you think about the Gorgamanders?
The what?
The Gormaganders from Star Wars. They were
word.
space whales.
What?
Gorgament. Yeah, there were space whales in Star Trek. What do you think about those? I mean, they were in
They
season.
are the Gorgamanders, are they?
Remember, Harry Mudd came hiding.
Oh God! Oh, don't fucking throw original series at me. I have no fucking clue. I haven't watched the original series for 25 years.
And that's not my fault.
There were some
There's space whales in Star Trek.
Well,
Also,
I'm watching. This man was a space acorn. He was basically shaped like an acorn, but he was a spaceman. And there are space bloody jellyfish all over the place. In Star Trek, all over the place. But no space whales that I remember.
Farpoint Station is kind of a jellyfishy thingy.
Yeah, but I don't remember that. But yeah, no. It's just I'm okay with these stuff living in space, but hyperspace whales just seems a bit silly. That are much faster than anything else, though, as well. They can go between galaxies, apparently. Makes no sense. It's stupid.
That's how we learned how to hyperspace travel.
Yeah.
You know, it's what inspired humans or the Rakatan Empire or the Zepho, whoever it may have been way back in the day, to actually travel.
They have a hyperspace fin.
It showed that, wait a second, maybe we're not stuck where we are. Maybe we should develop something to go out into the stars.
They have
look at that whale go.
Problem.
That's right. Whale knows best.
Look, it's sci-fi at the end of the day. It's supposed to be incredible, but I just sometimes, and even watching Star Trek, watching Stargate, watching anything I actually like, other than the Star Trek Wars, I don't particularly. I find, sometimes you just go, "What the fuck is that?" And that was a "what the fuck is that" moment. But anyway, what's next for Star Wars? Harris and Aaron?
Skeleton Crew in January.
Are we for sure that it's January, or were we just talking about it yesterday? Okay.
I've been seeing on the TwitX that that tentative date's been put out. I don't know how they're gonna make it, but they said that they said they're aiming for a January 2024 release for that.
Okay,
I think they're off. I don't see that.
That's Skeleton Crew.
Skeleton Crew.
Yeah,
the Jude Law and the children one.
It's the Jude Law series. Yeah.
Jamie's face immediately.
I fucking hate Jude Law.
Why? Jude Law?
Jude Law.
He's a bellend. He can't act. He always just plays Jude Law. The only thing I've ever seen him in that I didn't hate, is the Robert Downey Jr. Sherlock Holmes movies they did, and he played Dr. Watson.
Oh yeah,
he
those
ruined.
Are so fun. Like pure Sherlock Holmes people are like, "Fuck that," but those movies were awesome.
I loved it. It was more like the comic because it's based on the comic book series rather than the Arthur Conan Doyle series. So a lot of people did go crazy.
The dude that plays Moriarty, I love that guy.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
He's great.
Hey, they've got Sherlock Holmes 3 in pre-production, and he's going to be Dr. Watson again.
What?
Yep.
Yeah, Guy Ritchie's back, baby. He's actually made a couple of good films, and he's got the money to make Sherlock Holmes 3.
A couple of good films. Guy Ritchie's been doing nothing but good films.
He had a lull. But he did a couple of shit. That King Arthur film was pretty bloody bad.
That was a decade ago.
Yeah, there was a lull. I got back to making some. What did I just say? There was a lull. He got back to making some films.
He's been hitting as of recent. It's been great. He's my
gone
favorite working director, maybe right now.
Right. He's gone back to doing some stuff that he's used to, isn't he? Though the last couple of films he's done have been bloody really good, really good.
He's got like 2 films a year out the last 2 or 3 years, and all of them have been super fun. They've been so much fun.
You got to remember my age, though, mate, as well.
I really liked him in Sky Captain and The World of Tomorrow. I really did like him. I liked that movie.
No.
Loved it.
it was awful. It was awful.
Lynn's cap. Perfectly executed line.
Sky Captain and the World of Tomorrow is generally one of the worst films ever made.
Loved it.
It looks
Absolutely
awful.
amazing.
It was badly executed. It was badly acted. Even Angelina Jolie was awful in it. It was awful.
Loved it.
Oh, Stormy, I've lost faith in you now, mate.
If I had seen that, that was the kind of movie that I would have just like shit my pants if I'd seen it as a kid, because I mean, it was just I thought it was really a beckon back to a lot of the sci-fi you saw back in the day. I mean, so I watched Forbidden Planet this week for the first time in like 20 years, and the aesthetic that was in Sky Captain and Forbidden Planet was damn near the same, except Forbidden Planet was in CinemaScope and color. But yeah, it had the feelings of an early 50 adventure movie. I really did like it. And from that point, it really was well executed.
It was supposed to look like those classic 1950s Flash Gordon.
Yeah.
That sort of thing. That's what it was supposed to look like. I just think they maybe did a little bit too of a good job because it looked like a 1950s B movie, but a bit too much. And it was maybe a little bit ahead of its time. It was awful. Jude Law is a bad man. He's a bad human being. And I'd punch him in the face if I met him.
So we're not getting him on here anytime soon, right?
No. I just don't like him as an actor. I just don't think he's a particularly good actor. I just think he plays Jude Law, and I just don't like him. But I love him in.
Wasn't he also?
Do you like Mark Wahlberg?
Next. My wife loves Mark Wahlberg. My wife thinks Mark Wahlberg is the bomb. He's a bit wooden as well, but he has made some good films.
How are you going to let her get away with that? Dude, you're a gator. It's got to be Momoa. You must convince her.
She doesn't. She's not a big fan of Momoa.
She's going to go after Beefcake. She needs to go after Stargate Beefcake.
Well, she's not into that. But
hey, I'll fight you for Jason Momoa. I'll fight you for Jason.
I think Mark Wahlberg is a better he's a better businessman than he is a actor. I'll put it that way. He chooses good films, and he produces a lot of them, and he produces good films. Well, he's not particularly great in them.
Well, who do you think should have played his part in Gattaca? Jude Law. Harris.
Somebody hire me.
Well, there you go. Harris has got a job in a remake.
Please.
He'd have been 12 years old again. Harris should do everything. Harris is my answer to everything now. Who should be in the new Stargate series? Harris.
I'll take it. We say it enough. We will manifest this. Yes. Manifest me a paying job.
How many different ways? How many different ways can we make Harris look so before they kill him? Like he's going to be a red shirt in every episode. They're just putting different kinds of makeup on him and kill him every time. He's going to be Stargate's Kenny.
I'm okay with that. I'm totally okay with that. Please.
Yeah, Harris is always the answer. We did want to talk a little bit about the toxic fan base, though, that Stormy you mentioned. So, just tell. I know you said you were looking through a bunch of comments in the week, and it really got you riled up because you sent us a bunch of them. So what got you so riled up? What triggered you, Stormy?
Well, it's the thing that really just has me shaking my head is the amount of hate that a lot of these franchises generate, including Ahsoka, before anything is released, and sometimes even before some of the promo shots are released or the one sheet is made. It's just there's this group in social media, trolls that will latch onto a new franchise and try to absolutely destroy it. And it is just, and then they continue on, essentially doing negative marketing. And it wouldn't surprise me that that somebody has hired a ad agency to run negative comments, slews of bots on Twitter or wherever, to just defame and just denigrate these shows before they ever get a chance to find their feet, And so then the popular opinion is, that show is going to suck. So everybody thinks the show's going to suck, and they're predispositioned to think the show's going to suck before anyone has seen the first cut. And that just really disturbs me. I mean, essentially the actors are fighting propaganda that's out of their control.
Right. I have heard a couple of people say that Ahsoka was woke. I know some people will say everything's woke. Honestly, you could have a movie, I don't know, you could have a Rambo movie who just runs around and murders everybody for like 90 minutes and somebody goes, wokos. He murdered more men than he did women. Woke. Yeah. Something, I don't know. I'm being thingy because I before people get angry at me, I actually think there is an argument to say that some stuff out there, and I hate the term, you all know this, I keep telling you I hate it, but there is stuff out there that's very woke. It's agenda driven. I prefer, there's an agenda behind it, and that drives me crazy. But there always has been, though. I think propaganda movies and series and things, or writers that just have an agenda. They have something they want to say, and it overtakes the story. But anyway, some people have said Ahsoka was woke. I don't know why. Somebody want to explain it?
It's easy to see why they would call it that. If you actually are familiar with it at all, or interested in like where the stories go and where the narrative is or anything, like it all makes sense, like what's kind of going on. But just from someone who's never seen anything before and then they're going to it for the first time, it doesn't matter to me. But there are only female protagonists really, and Ezra, the only male protagonist in the entire show, doesn't actually have any like. He doesn't make decisions for himself ever. He has decisions made for him and is like, all right, I'm following along. And you don't really get to him till later. That's perfectly fine with me. I have no issue with that. But coming in from like trying to be as objective as possible, it might feel weird in that sense where like this dude doesn't have any agency, but everybody else around them does, I guess. I don't know. I'm
well, the thing we say about woke though is that when the women are like awesome and the men look stupid, there's nothing in this.
Exactly, that didn't happen at all. Like everybody was getting like shat on essentially the entire time. So
the dude she goes looking for is Ezra or Emily. I forget what his name was.
Yes.
He was better at the Force than the other chick was. Yeah. He's there going, I don't need a weapon. All the way through.
I think one of
then he picked up a blaster, but we'll get there.
Yeah, I think one of the biggest examples of production being woke was there was a series of books back in the 40s and 50s called Tom Swift. It was like a science-driven alternative to the Hardy Boys. It was kind of what it was. Well, the CW produced a series called Tom Swift. It lasted about less than a season. I think it was canceled before the first season even ran. And the tagline for Tom Swift was "Swagger is a science." And it was just agenda, and that's all it was. It was someone's agenda. It was agenda over story. And I think agenda over story is probably one of the foundations of something being legitimately woke, like you are always saying, Jamie. I mean, because it was just terrible. But I'm for the life of me, Ahsoka just it was the issue that the Night Witches weren't mean enough. Well, I mean, were they not evil enough? Was that the reason why people charged Ahsoka and still charge Ahsoka to this day as being woke propaganda? Was it because Ahsoka's a girl? Was it because that Anakin got seen as in more of an understandable human light?
Yeah, he came across as a bit of a hippie. Secondly, Monk's asked this question a couple of times. So that's going to be fair. Thorne and Ezra had been in the galaxy for 12 years and accomplished nothing. Didn't Thorne have to rebuild his Star Destroyer?
Well, I think that was the reason.
Literally, like the biggest engines on the back of the Star Destroyer were still, like one was missing and one was smashed. He was only capable of that slow atmospheric flight. He couldn't get up into space. That's why they had to bring the ISI.
No. He came up from space. He was literally stationed on another planet that was not Peridia, and that's why he wasn't there immediately. He had to leave that planet he was at to go to Peridia. He wasn't capable of hyperspace travel.
But the ship was anyway.
Which is why I'm with you, Secular Monk. as someone who has followed Dave Filoni's writing and his style of writing my entire life, it just wasn't there. Where this guy's been the best Easter egg layer. He's the freaking Easter bunny. This Dave Filoni, like this dude just drops an egg everywhere. These are not the characters that we are familiar with. And it just
sorry, go ahead.
No, sorry. They're not necessarily bastardized versions of the characters that we're familiar with, but they're like I mentioned on Chillin's stream yesterday. I saw a really funny meme that was just talking about Thrawn. It was like Thrawn from the original Zahn trilogy was like a 3-tier chess set. And then Thrawn from the canon trilogy is just a normal chess set. Thrawn from the Rebel show is a checkers board. And then Thrawn from Ahsoka is tic-tac-toe. Like, and that's what it felt like, is like this guy's so much more brilliant than he is. There's no way you're telling me he spent half a decade or a decade. Is it 5 years or 11 years? I don't really remember the exact time. That
it's about 10.
They're waiting.
10 years.
But yeah, if they've been there for a decade, it just seems like they were waiting the whole time. There are a lot of thousands of caskets or whatever the hell they're putting on the big Eye of Sion, but why wouldn't? I mean, there are a lot of questions to be asked. Same thing like here. We were talking in the chat just a minute ago. How did the Night Sisters never find Ezra if they can sense Ahsoka coming in from a Purgle halfway across the galaxy? There are nonsensical aspects that you include one thing and it negates another that happens over and over in the series, and that doesn't happen in Star Wars. It's so meticulous, and Dave has always been so meticulous, and it just seems so lackadaisical this time. It hurts from someone who like loves this, and I don't want to nitpick it, but this is my Star Trek moment with you and Mark, Jamie.
I mean, I saw like the condition of the Star Destroyer as like where he's at. I mean, it's just apparently he has very limited access to manufacturing, and would he rather try to conquer this galaxy he's in on his own with a broken Star Destroyer, or would he rather come back to where he has fleet support with whatever is left over from the Empire?
Well, of course, but after half a year of sitting there, you're going to do something. You're not going to wait for a decade. Like, dude's just been eating and gaining a couple pounds for a decade. Is that what's going on?
Well, maybe the army he's seeking had to be managed, or maybe that's what they're loading into is the Night Witch zombies.
Yeah,
maybe that took time.
The only resources he had to deal with were what came with him. And then you throw in all the damage, all the finite resources. You can't just dick around for 10 years when you literally have one ship and a crap ton of, mostly half-dead stormtroopers. There's not a whole lot you can do. That planet was a wasteland. There's no factories on that thing for him to make the parts. There's none of that.
Thank you so much for the super chat. Thrawn didn't really seem bothered by Ezra. He seemed bothered by Ahsoka. And then he seemed very bothered, and he kept saying, one Jedi can mess everything up. But he really didn't seem bothered by Ezra. And I did love it when they do the big reveal of Ezra, and they went, bah! And I said, it's a bloke with a beard. And that was not a clue.
If any Jedi would make Thrawn scared, it would be the one kid that thwarted him. Ahsoka wasn't able to thwart him. Like, Ezra was the only individual that thwarted him. And he's the only guy that could keep him from going back to that galaxy he wants to go back to. There's no reason for him to just let Ezra be. It's a huge, massive plot hole. And it leads, like, I understand what y'all are saying with, like, he would have been struggling to remake the Empire of the Hand or whatever he's trying to do, to build his troops. But he's been there a decade. He's traveling from one planet to another. There are bandits across this place. If shit was just somewhere and going, I raised my sword, you're now part of my team. Thrawn's a military genius. He would not be losing numbers or anything like that. He'd be recruiting. He'd be actively trying to
make the troopers keep their uniforms a bit cleaner as well. That's what they're supposed to look all worn on. It's like, in general, he's pretty clean. How come all the stormtroopers are running around with fucked up uniforms? Clean.
That's another thing. It just feels like another character than what he was even in Rebels.
We saw that also in Mandalorian. The stormtrooper outfits were not, their armor was scuffed. It was not in top condition.
Yeah, it's supposed to show decay, isn't it, over time and blah blah blah. Is it fair to say that this was supposed to be a series for the really hardcore Star Wars fans that have watched all the animation and watched all those other things? In that case, and it just missed?
Partially, yeah. I talked about this last night towards the end of the stream. My feeling is that Dave understands the situation that the IP itself is in, like all the brand damage that's been done over the last couple of years. And I feel like he made this show for the hardcore Star Wars fans because Star Wars isn't going to get fixed without bringing the core back in. And then we'll bring the normies in after we're all happy, which is basically how it's done anyway. You get your hardcore fans, you get them happy, you get them talking, and they'll bring the normies along. It's exactly what happened with the MCU.
Yeah, but it just
Hardcore
didn't work.
comic book fans were like, holy crap, this shit's dope. And then they started talking to everybody about it. And then poof, Infinity.
I think that was the idea with Ahsoka, and then the studio came in and
said that's too much, maybe, and dragged him back.
Yeah, I think Filoni was like, we're going to make something for the big Star Wars folk, and then the studio was like, well, we should be able to advertise this to everybody, and you should be able to. But I do like what Scotty was saying yesterday in the chillin' stream. Was this guy was saying, like, yes, it is nice to have like all these different, like, when you jump into a franchise from any different point, you should be able to jump in there and still enjoy where you're at. Where Star Wars Star Wars, if there is a franchise that has gotten away from that and you have to do homework, it probably is Star Wars. It probably is.
Well, no, I think Star Trek's the same, to be honest. Right, so talking about toxic fan base, I was going to say, I think there's a line between. I get tired. I get called a toxic fan occasionally, and I actually get accused of it on the channel occasionally. It was also so negative. And there's a difference between being toxic and actually not liking something and saying so. I firmly believe if I'm a Trekkie, I love Star Trek. When Stargate comes back, if I don't like it, I'm going to say so. But I'll say why. I won't just go, this is a great pile of crap and blah blah blah. I'll say, look, I don't like this, I don't like that. And I'll look for the positive though.
Well, it's like
why are fans seemingly so angry at the moment to everything, Stormy?
Yeah, I really don't know, unless they just get off on it, because it's. I saw this one tweet from, unfortunately, somebody I know that listed all, like, a big laundry list of shows that had gone woke, and it listed things that. And you read through the comments, it's like, that's not woke. Where did you get? No, that's just, and it was just one after the other. Then there's this big hate fest in the comments about this show wasn't woke. I love this show. How dare you? And I think they actually, mentioned Firefly as being woke. Like, how the fuck?
Firefly's the anti-woke. If anything, Mal is a misogynist.
Really? And so, let's say you would, there's something about Stargate, coming up that you wouldn't like. You're not spending, the preceding 6 months bashing it online. You're reporting on it. Well, this is what we've heard, and this is what we hope, and this will be good, and we can't wait. Which should we see the reboot of a universe? Should we see the reboot of? These are the questions we're asking. We're not coming right off the bat saying, "Oh, it's going to suck," because it's MGM. It was just, we're not taking the position that it is going to suck before the first word's been written, before the first poster has been issued, before we even know who the cast is. And I think that's the difference. You were talking about honest critique, film critique, and the other is just, troll, outlandish, bad behavior with people that may not be good actors. I mean, actors in terms of a strategy, not
a lot of
lesbians.
What do you think, Harris?
A lot of the problem with that, though, is the studio PR departments aren't helping. They're not differentiating between that loud, annoying, dumbass, full of shit people crowd and the rest of us who are just like, no, we like your product, but, these are the flaws in it, and we're trying to let you know so you can fucking fix it. Problem is a lot of PR departments, especially Lucasfilm, they're like literally the worst about this that I've seen. Is they just take that broad brush and any criticism, oh nope, you're all those crazy people. And thusly, those of us who are obviously not get really friggin' annoyed about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It probably makes a perfect action. I have a psychology background. I think I'm sure I've mentioned that before, but so I've counseling, psychological assessments and things like this. And part of that is you're looking for certain markers in people's personalities. And particularly when you do something called CBT, I don't know if the American is the same, but it's cognitive behavioral therapy and
Yes.
Yeah.
I watch some of these guys and I'm
we have
like, oh, this would be several sessions of counseling. When I watch some of these guys, I was like, yeah, it is. It does say a lot more about them than it doesn't. And the point here, it's going to suck because it's Amazon. It's not personally what he thinks, but it's what people say, and it's true. What do you think, Harris?
I mean, just to kind of pick up where Aaron was saying a second ago, because we did discuss this a little bit of the PR departments for all these different companies have to do a better job. If all you do is say these fans are good, so we're going to put them in the spotlight. These fans are bad, so we're going to pretend like they don't exist. That's not a conversation. And if there's no conversation being directed from the actual PR department at all, and it's just like no YouTube comments, no dislike button, no nothing like that, the loudest person in the room will always be the angriest person in the back. And that's what's happened over the last few years. And it's where we're at. No matter what franchise we're talking about, someone's going to be pissed off about something. And that's because these PR departments aren't actively, I'm not saying go take control back of the conversation, but at least spearhead the conversation. At least lead the charge and say, well, this is kind of what we're going to be doing for the next couple of years. Or, hey, this is like a fun little, like, even whenever like it's an anniversary of something, Lucasfilm still has the comments off. Like, that's bad. If you have people still shitting on the prequels or shitting on the OT, like whatever it may be, like that conversation's there. That doesn't mean take it away, you know?
Is like, look, at the end of the day, though, man, as a YouTuber, which I still find it weird to. Oh, I'm an influencer. Sorry, I'm an influencer now. I forgot to mention that.
Oh wow! Congratulations on it.
No, but
yes, I influence ones of people all the time.
Yeah, I just wonder though, he's hating on something and being negative about something. Isn't it more interesting than being nice? Look, at the end of the day, we watch a soap opera. We don't watch it for everyone going, "Oh, I love you, man. Come here, give a big hug." We watch it for the, "You screwed my husband's second cousin," and then out there with. We watch it for the drama, don't we? And the negativity is more interesting. It's wrong. It's a crap sense of human beings, really, that we find that sort of stuff. The news, they try to do a good news story at the end, don't they? It doesn't work. No one cares. And today, a puppy was saved from a tree. Did the puppy then fall and like maul somebody? No. It just went home. The puppy didn't maul anyone. No, it's just it was a happy ending. Off. Do you know what I mean?
It's one of the oldest things in journalism. If it bleeds, it leads.
Yep.
And it's disappointing, but it's the way humanity works.
It just I'm with you. It just doesn't help that these departments are cutting off a portion of that fan base, which makes them that much louder and angrier. Like, hey, well, they're not gonna like even want us to talk anymore. The only thing we can do is be angry now, and that's just kind of what we keep seeing. I feel like the puppy was. Which puppy? Which
does it matter which puppy?
All the puppies.
All the
puppies. We've got a problem.
Puppies are all loved, so therefore they're woke.
Yeah, we got a problem recently in dogs. You know, you have school shootings. We have dogs that keep eating people. It's happened a couple of times, like really recently. So
that's nature.
Have you heard of Barbie Thor Power? The biggest movie of the entire freaking year.
Barbie
Go Woke, Go Broke is complete bullshit.
I just
forget that phrase.
I just don't see it.
It's garbage.
I just don't see it. For me, I honestly do think there has been a massive overcorrection by a lot of filmmakers, writers, directors and studios are terrified of being called racist or homophobic or whatever else. So they've massively overcorrected. And yeah, I'm with you on that. We get films like Ghostbusters with boobs, and you just go, this is just a bunch of really angry women. This doesn't seem. There's no film here. Where's the film gone?
I still haven't seen that movie. I still haven't seen it.
It's the writing. It's always just the writing or the conception. It's a technical thing. If a movie studio or a director or a screenwriter makes the mistake of putting agenda before story quality, yeah, but that's still a writing thing.
I'm not always sure, because executives do get involved in these things. And there are, look, at the end of the day, the studios have been hiring equality executives the last few years, and they seem to be getting rid of them again, don't they? But and all they worry about is
but either way, it's still a technical aspect of the process.
It's pressure from executives
at its most basic level. I
understand where you're coming from the writing. I think there's two issues with the writing. There's too much TV because of the streaming wars, and there's too much writing and it's been watered down. The quality's been watered down. And executives, I think they are putting pressure on writers to go, have you mentioned this demographic? Have you mentioned this demographic? Don't forget to talk about this. And it forces writers to go in a certain way that they don't necessarily always want to go in. But there are also a lot of writers.
I totally agree with that.
Well, there are also a lot of writers out there that are going, you know what, I'm sick that racism in this country is fucking a nightmare, and I'm going to talk about it. And I can't argue with them for that. I can't blame them. It does seem to be, in America particularly, and parts of Europe, are massively divided. And people are angry.
Yeah. Well, it just comes down to the delivery and the execution. Like, look at the Spider-Verse movies. There are so many things about those movies that, like, the hardcore reactionaries would be like just screaming their heads off about, but you barely saw anything about those movies. I mean, like, the ultra hardcore people were crying, but even they were an extreme minority of their extreme minority. There's plenty of woke stuff in those movies, but those movies hit and they made a crap ton of money for what they were, because they delivered on it correctly. They weren't preachy. That's the problem. When writers or studios or execs get preachy, the message is you're done. That people just go.
If it's preachy or there's literally just no substance, and you can tell that an executive came in there just to tick a box, that's whenever it doesn't become hard to watch. But you, as an audience member, just you recognize it, and it's just there, and you're like, well, that doesn't feel right. And if it doesn't feel right, it shouldn't be in the show. If you have something with substance to add, please add it. Please add it. Like, Spider-Verse is the epitome of that example. Like, tick every box you freaking feel like. There's every kind of Spider-Man you can even imagine, and then some.
Yeah, I mean, Tom Swift was double checked. It was horrible.
Yeah, if it has substance, put it in there. Please do, and let different people be represented. Do all that stuff, but have it have substance, or it negates the purpose in general. It makes the meaning lesser. It makes putting things in new things after that lesser. It hurts it overall. Just substance, please. Substance. Can I say it again?
Bob makes a point there when people watch with their eyeballs. Wait, please. Thank you. 1 second. People are voting with their eyeballs. Spider-Verse. Loads and loads of people watch Spider-Verse. To be fair, it was massively popular.
Yeah, like 500-600 million at the box office for an animated movie. Everybody watched that movie. Everybody.
So, but you could argue that a lot of Disney is failing, a lot of Marvel is failing.
Yep.
What I would argue is because they weren't very good. The Marvel movies, the last 4 or 5, have been horribly bad movies. I watched Love and Thunder again the other day. Just thought it can't be as bad as I remember. Let's give it another go. And it is. It's awful.
Were you closer to a stroke or an aneurysm?
The goats killed it for me.
I heard those words and I just didn't want to listen to about that. I hate that movie. I literally hate that movie. Quantumania is almost right there too. Like, those two switch spots for me every once in a while, but those movies were awful.
Quantumania's got.
And you know what
okay
else is
bits
messed
of it.
up about
My
when
kids
executives
like
get involved in
Quantumania.
this stuff? The people they're trying to help get screwed over even more. They're not helping. They're doing a disservice to those communities. And they put out garbage and they're trying to put out a message in garbage, and that's not going to work. Not only are you going to piss off the ones that always cry about it, you're hurting the communities you're trying to help.
Yeah.
Like completely
It's
losing
not as
you
bad
do
as
that
I
shit.
remember. It's much worse. It's awful. And Space Goats. No, go on.
Oh
The
my God,
screaming
the
at
goats.
this was cool. It was funny the first half dozen times, but you know. But I finished off Secret Invasion,
Ooh.
and it was.
That's the best reaction I think I've seen on the entire interwebs, right there.
What, Stormy?
Oh, you
I
had
know, that's
Samuel
probably the
L.
most positive one I've seen.
Samuel L. Jackson is no slacking. He's not a slacker actor. He's really good, and
Yeah.
they didn't use him. You know, and I forget the guy's name. He played Krennic, I think, on Rogue One. He played. Yeah, you know who I'm talking about.
It always
Really-
reminds me of Greg Kinnear. It's
Really
not
great actor.
Ben Mendelsohn. Sorry. There we go.
Yes. Thank you. They didn't use him. They didn't. The writing got nowhere near their acting skills, and it was just tragic to watch.
Ben Mendelsohn, Kobe Smulders, and Amelia Clark were criminally underutilized.
You know, so when you're talking about, you know, the wokeness or the whatever, it was, man, you know, are they just not getting top tier writers for these guys? I mean, Samuel L. Jackson is fucking golden, and it was just, I don't know. That said, here comes something really controversial.
Uh-oh.
I watched the first episode of Loki last night.
I've not watched it.
Loved it.
No. That's what most people are saying.
Yeah. So, I mean, it was there. The writing was exceptional, I thought. And and you can just tell that the actors really brought those words out. And it was night. And now it's a Marvel thing. I get that. But it was night and day from Secret Invasion. You know,
Can't wait to watch it then. In that case, I loved the first season of Loki. I thought it was fantastic. I thought it was brilliant. I thought it started to set up what was coming so well, and then the movies flushed it down the toilet really quickly.
Yeah.
Particularly Quantumania, flushed down toilet.
Yeah. It was a quantum flush.
Yeah, quantum flush straight down the loo. But great! I cannot wait for Loki then.
Yeah,
characters.
Oh, dude, so good.
Cool. I'm looking forward to that. My main problem as well with Secret Invasion was it made no logical sense. They basically did things like, apparently they were going around swabbing all the DNA for the blood to make all these stupid things. That's not how DNA works, or blood, or science. It was just stupid. And that's what annoys me. It was like She-Hulk, where you watch it and like go, this is just stupid. It doesn't make any sense, to the point of actually like insulting me that I'm sitting and watching it. How thick do you think I am that I'm watching this and thinking, yeah, brilliant. This isn't me like separating in fantasy and just enjoying the fantasy of it and like ignoring certain things that, you know, aren't really science, or you know what I mean, or in fantasy where it's like, oh, we're just going to use
space whales.
Space whales. I can even let space whales go. At least it's not insulting. You know what I mean? But I found Secret Invasion insulting. I'm going, this is just stupid. Thank you again for the contribution. Secret Invasion just should have stayed a secret.
Yes.
Melvin, you are coming back, so you always have the best comments and the thing. It should have been kept secret. It was just awful.
Okay, I think Melvin Quest just said something in there that was perfect a couple minutes ago. First, though, the only person that did not phone in a performance and actually had something good in Secret Invasion was Olivia Colman. She's the only person that showed up to work. That's the only individual that showed up to work the entire time. And the last episode might be one of the worst episodes of television I think I've ever witnessed. But
Andrew, welcome to Scitrek.
I think she was the star of the show. She took whatever shitty lines she had and she made it resonate, man.
Which was great.
Oh my
But
God.
that last episode was god awful. And I think Sci-Fi Quest, Melvin was he scrolled up a little bit. Too many writers that want to write their own things is definitely a huge issue. And that's one of the big things that was going on with the writers' room and the writers' strike right now, which I think I don't remember the exact writers' room minimum that they set on. I need to look at what actually like was agreed upon, but that was one of the big things. And I was not with the writers on that side at all, because the writers wanted to have at least 6 people in a writer's room. 6 different people have 6 different ideas. And one of the most popular television show on planet Earth at the moment is Yellowstone, which is written by one guy. The prequel series, both of them written by one guy.
That's true.
He's done multiple movies during all this time. One guy. He has a vision, and I think I think doing the writers' room, it sounds good to keep jobs and stuff, but it makes us it continues the Marvel and it continues what Disney's doing right now. Disney has large writers' rooms, and we've seen what happens when they do. Instead of Stephen Marcus, Christopher McFeely having the 2 of them writing the next Avengers movie or the next Captain America movie, it's not 1 or 2 people doing it anymore. It's a whole assembly of people, and then nobody's point ever gets across. That's why it feels like one episode might be going one way, the next one might be going another way, and then it's not like a succinct story that's like leading you somewhere. I think that's one of the issues with Ahsoka as well.
When they used to do 22 episodes of a season, though, they would have a writer's room. They would have a team of 6 or 7 writers on a series, and they'd have meetings. They'd have meetings at the start, and they would figure out general tone and story arc and blah blah. But then, generally speaking, a person would write an episode, and then it would maybe go to Brannon Braga or something, who would then work with them and rewrite a bit here and then go, okay, right, brilliant stuff. I love this. Because he actually said there was very few. He was saying like Ronald D. Moore was one of the very few times he got a script and just went, perfect.
Yeah. I just you read the line, man. I was going to just get ready to, because the way he did manage the writing room and for Battlestar Galactica was he had very few people. He hired the writers that he trusted, and they go do this episode. Okay, this is where we're going. To all get together. This is the trunk. This is what we're going to do. This is the story path we're going for. Go for it.
Yeah. And then they would come together. Apparently, there's all certain writers as well they would have a character that was theirs. Mm-hmm. And then then you would refer to what do you think, if it was Star Trek, what do you think Data would do in this scenario? And that person was supposed to be, and the idea being that through the series, it kept a voice for the actor. So I quite liked that idea. It feels a bit managed, but it was a good idea to go, well, I would write it like this, and but whoever was writing the script still had the final say. But there was that person you'd go to, to like go, how do you say this? How do you do that? I like that. But now again, it seems to be that it's by committee, and you can always tell when a movie has gone mental, because there'll be an executive, and the stories always come out eventually. But there was some executive somewhere putting pressure on the writer to do something that they had to then shoehorn in or go a certain way. That movie Wild Wild West, do you remember that? And apparently the producer just as a thing for spiders. So he
wanted to put it in another movie 5 years before then, and then was like, well, where can I put this? We're going to put it here, and just decided it, because he was like one of the executives and was like, I can do this now.
Yeah. Like Kevin Smith talked about how he was writing a Superman movie, and I can't remember the producer's name, but the producer's name could go in, and I go, I love that. I love this idea. I love it. And Kevin Smith had written the script for it. I love this. I'd love him though to fight a giant spider. And then 2 years later we got Wild Wild West, and Kevin Smith was like,
that was that. Hey, but we finally did get
the end of the Flash,
Nick Cage Superman fighting
a spider.
It's giant spiders, because it's an ongoing joke in Hollywood. That's why he was fighting giant spiders in Flash, because it's a joke in Hollywood that this guy was obsessed. But anyway,
well, so it's like the thing I like, going back to the toxic environment on Twitter or on social media, is Tatiana Maslany.
Tatiana Maslany.
The woman who played She-Hulk.
Maslany.
Thank you.
Maslany.
She gets all the blame for the bad writing. and the bad executive decisions.
Yeah.
You know, they always take it out on her. You know,
And
now,
the
if I was an
parking,
actress
the
and I
terrible
was
parking, she's to blame for that as well.
who did?
Bloody women. The terrible parking, she's to blame for that as well. Bloody thing.
I mean,
All
I
the
thought
parking
her,
in the car park, bloody women parking.
even looking over the whole fourth, you know, pain being broken and all that stuff. You know, I thought she did a very good job, but it was the best part of She-Hulk was Tom Ruffalo. You know, I mean Mark Ruffalo. Excuse me.
She-Hulk wasn't badly written. I don't think it was badly written. I think it was badly conceived in the first place.
Oh,
The whole idea of the series was a bad idea. The whole idea was we're going to do what we did in the comics a couple of times. We're going to do this whole story, and then we're going to break the fourth wall, and we're going to go and see Kevin Feige, and we're going to go punch in this thing, because that's what we used to do in the comics occasionally. And not all of the She-Hulk comics, by the way, just some of them. But and we're going to do that. And that was badly conceived from the beginning. They we made a mistake, in my opinion, because
Do you think it would have worked better as a film?
No,
Like in a vein of a Deadpool, but She-Hulk?
Yeah, but the problem is She-Hulk. Deadpool doesn't unravel everything at the end. Deadpool, he breaks the fourth wall because that's been done for years.
For fun.
Years ago with Christian Slater and things like that. Break the fourth wall, talk to the camera. If you do it sparingly, it's really, really funny and really good. And Deadpool does it brilliantly. Mentioning Patrick Stewart and things like this, just very throwaway comments, brilliant.
There are moments versus She-Hulk where she just
constant. But also, the worst thing She-Hulk did, though, is she set up the whole thing was set up all these villains and all this story and her trying to get her blood and all this stuff, and they just took it all apart in the end. And you just get to the end of the episode and go, "Whoa!" So everything that happened in every other episode either didn't happen or was a complete waste of time. Because she just goes, I don't like that. I'm going to do this ending instead. Oh, I don't like that. I'm going to do this ending instead. And I'm just like, you made it all pointless. That's the problem.
It was a very bad attempt at meta.
Well, yeah, which just didn't work.
Mm-mm.
There was another show that was really leaned into the fourth pain thing. What sci-fi? It was Kevin Spacey. House of Cards.
Did it? Oh yeah, he kept talking to camera at the end of
episode.
Episode.
He'd have a conversation with a politician, he'd look at the camera and explain what his thought processes is, how he's going to fuck this guy over or stab this dude in the back or whatever. They did that a lot, and I think the first or second season, I can't recall them doing a lot in the third.
Mostly the first season, and then I think they stepped away from it a little bit because they didn't want it to be a comedy show, so they made it a bit more serious.
They treated that more like a narration, though, and that felt okay. It was like a fourth wall narration, but it was like those moments were like exposition that got you inside of his brain, and not necessarily like quips or jokes, but everything that he did pushed the story along in that, which made it feel a little more narrative based, I guess.
First two seasons of House of Cards were amazing.
Oh,
so always the first couple of seasons. Right,
crazy well.
Sorry, go on. Who was that?
I said crazy plays crazy well.
That's true.
Just one last thing on the toxic fandom then, because we have this a lot in Star Trek as well, and that's more my fandom. A lot of division, a lot of unhappiness about the way Star Trek has gone in the last few years, and a lot of anger because people genuinely feel like their favorite show has been took away from them. Is it a problem, or is it just society and we should just let it slide, or is it something that we should challenge and should think, or is it just if you don't like something, say you don't like it and really move on? Does it matter? Stormy, does it matter? My concern is with all the toxic behavior is people are coming out against things when they have no knowledge of it. No, it's been going on forever. They used to do this with books. I remember when Robert Jordan, when before the Lord of Chaos came out, it was just, oh my God, it's going to be the suckiest ass thing ever. But that was just bitching on AOL. That's how far back that goes. But I think it is unfair when you do have something that's quality, like I was talking about earlier. The shows have gone woke. One that they had mentioned was Lower Decks,
which I thought was Lower Decks was insanely brilliant, very entertaining. I mean, it's the Easter eggiest thing that ever, you know.
It's a love letter to the TNG.
Yeah, but you know, it's
they do have some lesbian characters and things like that and stuff, but that's just they're not all of it though, and they don't. It doesn't like some of the arguments for Discovery is that it seems like some of the characters are I'm a lesbian, yeah, but what else is about you? No, I'm a lesbian. Because yes, but have you got anything else interesting about you at all? I like girls. No, that's not what we mean. You know, it's just like there's been but that's not Lower Decks.
No, at all. You know, but still, that's where we're at. And I think it's very unfair to the writers that do produce good material like Lower Decks and the actors on Lower Decks and these other things that are considered, you know, that for whatever reason the mob goes after. You know, the whole thing, it reminds me of the plot in this movie Agora with Rachel Weisz. It's just, if you haven't seen Agora, go out, and the people that, I don't want to give away any spoilers, but the people that, the bad guys, these are the movie trolls that you see in this movie.
And I did love how She-Hulk poked the bear. I wish they'd just done that once. Again, that was another problem with She-Hulk. They did it too many times, like you said earlier, Stormy. Too many times for the fourth one. They poked the bear with Twitter, and I loved it the first time. I thought that was brilliant. But then they did it again and again.
And then move on. There's always Instagram or Facebook.
Yeah. Aaron, what do you think, man? Is this something we should worry about, or should we just let it go, man? People want to be negative, let them be fucking negative.
I mean, the way I personally roll is I give credit where it's due, and if you make it messed up, I'm gonna freaking talk about that too. Like, if it's good, I'll praise it. If it's not, I'll shit on it. It's just, you know, the way it is. The problem with what's going on in the fandoms is some people either hate a thing just because of who made it. Like, for example, there's a whole group of people that are so against Disney that even before a show comes out, and it's not just Marvel or not just Star Wars, it's Marvel too. I see it online all the time. It's like they're just automatically saying because Disney made it, it's going to be woke, and they automatically hate it. Instead of actually, you know, going on a case by case basis like normal people. So
exactly.
I mean, it's you can try and ignore it, and you can attempt to engage them. I attempt to engage them. It's
you're brave to say the least.
Yeah, it's a waste of time. I've tried once or twice.
You know,
it's just backfires, but just goes in the face.
I mean, sometimes I get bored enough, and I go out and be like, whatever. But
as soon as
as long as these studios actually start to put quality first, the ability of those people to like, they'll actually start to be ignored by people on a much more wide basis, I think. But we got to get the quality back up in everything. That's the primary thing. If we get quality, those people can be ignored. Although I will say, just as bad as those who hate something, like, we'll just use Disney, just as bad as the people that hate something just because Disney makes it, are the people on the other side that are automatically like, oh, it's a Disney thing, I love it, you must love it too. And if you don't, you're toxic and you're an ist and you're a phobe. It's like, no, if it's good, it's good. If it's not, it's not. Just because Lucasfilm makes something doesn't automatically make it good or bad. It's a case-by-case thing, and neither extreme end of the fandom is willing to budge on that instead of just being
there's a meme in Star Trek. Yeah, there's a meme in Star Trek, and it's Dr. Bashir and the character whose name I've forgotten. Oh crap, he was one of the best ones as well.
Garrick.
And they're saying,
Garrick, yeah.
I like all Star Trek, and he goes, even the Star Trek I don't like, and it's Garrick saying, especially the Star Trek you don't like. And I'm like, no, some Star Trek I don't like. And I am allowed to say I don't like it. And that doesn't make me toxic. It doesn't make me a bloody troll. Because I'm not there going, this is thing and this character's crap because of that. I hate it. And I'm not getting overly aggressive. I remember it's a TV show, but I don't like it. Harris, what do you think, man? Like I said, should we engage these people or?
I mean, it is part of the conversation. I think the points maybe brought up should be talked about, but I don't know if engaging with the people and indulging. I don't like the word toxic or woke. I don't like either one of those words. They're just way both overused nowadays. But don't indulge the toxicity per se, but talk about the points and try to find the intelligent conversation somewhere in between them, if possible.
And me.
Okay.
It'll be biting me later. I don't want it to live.
So instead of engaging these guys, I think we should do what we're doing here. We talk about, we do, legit art criticism. We're not, preloading something that's come out that we've not seen, with negative thoughts or whatever. We're not promoting stuff that we're not saying something's going to be awesome when we've never seen it. I think, instead of, engaging the hate trolls, just, produce content that's reasonable, that's legitimate. And I think that goes farther, because if you get into the hate troll fight, the hate troll is going to win because he just wants to wear you down. It's just propaganda. That's all he's spewing. But what we're doing is actually doing something that's honest and legit. I think that's the best step to fighting that. Not engaging them, but outdoing them. If that makes sense.
So you're saying sometimes it's just better to keep it simple, stupid?
There we go. My life in general.
My favorite saying in the world.
Stupid. Keep it simple. We'll lead by example. We are a shining beacon in the world of YouTube on how to do this positively and do it right. Please don't. That's a lot of pressure, man. That's a lot of pressure. I think we go into this doing this whole YouTube thing honestly, and just be honest. If you don't like something, just say you don't like. I have critiqued stuff that I've not seen yet, but it's been in like I don't think he's the right person for this role. I can't see it. Then when you watch it, you either go I was right, or you go no, I was wrong. He was amazing, and that, honesty. I think we've done that a couple of times where we'll talk about something and we go I don't know about this, but then I think we're brilliant in that we then stand and go we were wrong. I know I have anyway. I was bang wrong. That was phenomenal, and I think some people are afraid to be wrong. Whereas I, again, as I'm married, I'm used to being wrong. So apparently, everything I say, pretty much. So it's okay to be wrong.
Damn right.
But I watch. There's a few YouTube channels that I've watched because and I've had to block them. I won't name them. That's not fair. But I've had to block them in there because even though they talk about some really interesting things sometimes, they come at everything from a negative perspective, and everything has to be a shocking, title or whatever. And even if then what they actually say isn't that, they have to come at it from that perspective, and I just can't watch it. It's just disappointing. But that's just me. I'm a silver lining kind of guy. What can you do? And we bring in people here that are
Fence riding.
But guys, right? Thank you so much, and I'm glad. Actually, did we actually enjoy Ahsoka then? I quite enjoyed it.
Yeah. I
liked it
very much.
You liked it, but you were disappointed by it.
I'd give it a solid 6.5.
I maybe enjoyed it more because I didn't know all the stuff. This is viewed like when I watched the J.J. Abrams Star Treks, and if somebody doesn't like Star Trek went in, they'd be like, "Great, what a marvelous movie." Quite a lot of lens flares. I like a lens flare, but as a Trekkie, I'm going into it going, "What's wrong with the warp core? Why is the warp core stupid?" And and things like that. And what's the flappy things on the Enterprise? The Enterprise hasn't got flappy things, and I'm like nitpicking. And is that fair to say with you, Harris, with this episode that you're just like, it's the detail that they maybe maddened you?
Or the lack thereof, yeah. That's really what it is. Because, like I said, I guess earlier, Dave's been the Easter Bunny for years. Now it was just, I don't know. There were 2 or 3 threads here where usually there are 2 or 3 major threads and about 12 or 14 little sub like minor outlying threads that are there to pick up from as well. And there was just nothing like that. And that kind of stuff really helps you live in the world that you're watching. And it didn't feel like we could live in the world that we were watching this entire time. It felt like we were just strictly viewers. And where episode 6 helped that. Episode 5 and 6, that world building aspect of those 2 episodes really kind of brought that back. And I was like, this is going to end super well. And then we got episode 7 and 8. And they weren't bad. There were great bits in both episodes. But neither of them had narrative purpose. They were just, they didn't even finish off what we thought was going on with this series. There wasn't even a technical cliffhanger. We just stopped. It's weird.
The end was weird. The end was weird. Right, before we go, I have sort of announced this through the community page and on Facebook, I think. But next week, we are appearing on the companion with Brad Wright. So we are quite excited. It will be me and Matthew, as long as he's better. Otherwise, Harris, you're the first substitute, mate. So, I mean, Stormy, you're always free.
I'm working all the damn time. I'm putting people in space. I got it.
Not yet, but I mean, yeah,
you're being a rocket scientist.
I know it's different.
It'll be next Saturday at 5 p.m. UK time. We think we're going to be able to stream it live here as well, but we're not 100% certain because Harris has been told that, but I haven't. And Scitrek is my channel, and I don't know what's going on yet.
That's what they announced, I guess, at the end of the companion yesterday.
Yeah, well, I'll find out tomorrow maybe because we're having a video chat conference call to discuss it. So, but we're going to be talking to Brad Wright. There is a little thing on the community page. If you want to throw in your question ideas, please do. I'm thinking we might do like a fast, like a see any questions we're getting in 60 seconds at the end. It's a bit of a fun thing. So I'm going to try to test Brad Wright's knowledge. What I was thinking was I might do quotes. Is it Stargate or Travelers or something like that maybe? And try to see if we can guess, like a silly little game or something. But if anybody's got any ideas, we've got 15 minutes with Brad Wright. 15 minutes. So we need to make sure that we don't waste it. So, because we'll probably never get it again. We will be appearing with Dial the Gate and Gate World. So we've got some bridges to build there.
Yeah, once he figures out who we are, that's the last we see of Brad Wright.
Brad Wright loves me.
I was about to say he's been texting Jamie. Somehow we're in there.
Well, there you go. Yeah.
He's
desperate, huh?
He's my friend.
Jamie wakes up in the mornings and says, "Good morning, Brad." Like the first thing he does when he texts.
And then he says, "Good night, Jay." When he says
it really is.
But it's not. But yeah, it's going to be very cool. It really is a celebration of Stargate, and that's the point. Guys, I want you to be involved. I want your questions. Throw them in. Patreon and channel members, I'm going to pick one question from you guys. You get a question. So please, any ideas? But it's going to be very exciting. Then we will be back Sunday as normal. Just we're going to enjoy it. Screw it. And then we're that close to a Stargate announcement. I just to say that I was given a little bit of info basically to say that MGM have now started to consider sort of like bringing in a couple of the original producers and original makers, so Brad Wright, Joseph Malozzi, things like this, not to appear or not to do anything creative, just to sort of like consult them on their decision before it's released, basically, before it's announced. They want to try, they're trying to get some positive voices from the original series. So that again just screams to me that they're doing a continuation rather than a full reboot. Because if they're doing a I don't know, pretty much confirm that anyway. But it's nice to know they're actually thinking they might do that. So let's hope they do. Because Brad Wright deserves at least a phone call, for fuck's sake.
Something.
He does.
Yeah. A text message, a WhatsApp. Do a WhatsApp group.
As long as they don't Peter Jackson them, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Well, I mean, it is
So,
Amazon.
Oh yes. So we will see you all next week. Have a great week, everybody. Enjoy this incredibly warm weather. I don't know what it's like over there, but it's autumn here.
It's hot.
It's still 25 degrees centigrade on all the
for you,
leaves.
it's bloody chilly where I'm at.
Not here.
Must
It's
be.
weirdly warm.
Yeah.
So anyway, global warming. Gotta love it.
All came in and smacked us in the face yesterday.
Well, we haven't got it here. So anyway, guys, thank you so much. Bye-bye, everybody, and we will see you next week.
Next week.
I got to find the end bit. Wait a second. Bye.